Okay, guys and gals, about 10 seconds of the obligatory disclaimer. If you want to read the whole thing, just pause the video. All right, welcome everybody. It's been a little while. Let me review the S&P 500. This is Sunday, about noonish, maybe 1 o'clock. Yeah, 12:30. So the futures market for the S&P 500 futures is going to open up in about 4.5 hours. Okay, so I'm doing this video for the upcoming, for the upcoming week. We're looking at the daily chart. This is the S&P 500 futures for. I'm actually looking at the June 22 contracts. We can switch over. Oh yeah, okay. I guess the yeah, it switched from. Looks like it switched from March to June, right? They must have. This is TD Ameritrade. They must have switched to the new contract. Okay, that's great. No problem. So let's take a look at this. Now, for those that don't know about cycle analysis, you look down here at the bottom, you'll see all these arcs down here. You got this big orange one. Okay, you see a smaller green one in there and a little tiny red one. I even have an interlaced one in there, kind of this red one. A little bit of a mess, but just stick with me on this because I think this is all going to come together here in this video, and I'll kind of make it clear what's going on here. Now, for those who don't know, cycle analysis is basically, I'm going to keep this super simple because it's very in-depth subject matter. A lot of you already know, but for those that don't know and maybe new to my channel, new to the content, which by the way, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, okay? And don't forget to click that little bell to be notified of all the videos as I put them out, okay? Also, I'll also take the opportunity here that I have a premium membership. It's $5.99 if you want to join. Click the join button right below the video, okay? And then you're basically going to get some premium content that I don't share with the public like I'm doing in this video, okay? So let's talk about cycle analysis here for a moment. I'm going to keep this super simple because, like I said, it's an in-depth subject matter, but I'm just going to keep it really, really simple here. Let's take this big orange cycle. Wherever you see this cycle come down like that, okay, and you can see the next cycle starts, okay, goes up like that, right? So we would normally, this doesn't always happen, but it happens often, we would expect price to start coming down into that cycle where the cycle low is right there, okay? In this case, it was a little off because we're looking way back in the history. Now, I won't dive into too deep about the further you go back into history, the cycles tend to get off. But the closer you are to present time, the cycles tend to be more accurate, okay? So cycles are meant to be adjusted. That's perfectly acceptable in cycle analysis, okay? So let's start looking at about right here. If you look at these orange cycles, the big ones here, you can see this price lows right here where these two cycles come together, right? So cycles really are just an element of time, you know? We're moving, that way is history, okay? And this way is moving in towards the future, okay? Right? And right over here is the present, okay? The last trading day that happened. But getting back to this cycle, you can see the price came down and went up, right? Same thing happened here. The next cycle. Price came down and went up. Okay? So I hope you're beginning to see there's a cyclical repetitive pattern here, right? That's the whole point of cycle analysis, is we're trying to catch where these lows are at. And here's another one. Came down, go up. Okay, this one's maybe, yeah, it's pretty good. It's within this cluster of candlesticks. Okay, so since we're looking at the daily chart here, we're anticipating that there's going to be a cycle low somewhere over here in this big old mess where all these cycles are coming down into, okay? I've got like 4 different daily cycles happening here, okay? Normally I won't have this many cycles. I might only have 2 in there, sometimes just 1. But I've been monkeying around with these cycles, trying to really get a feel for where I think it's going to land this next cycle low. And this one's at approximately March 23rd, and the latest one is all the way out to about March 30th, maybe the 31st. So anywhere from like the third week all the way out to the end of March, I think personally is where the greatest chance of a cycle low is going to be. Okay. Now, so for those who don't know, my mentor is Steve Miller. Okay, he's the one that taught me psychoanalysis, also known as Slim, affectionately known as Slim. If you don't know about his channel, he actually has his own YouTube channel. You can look him up. I think it's Ask Slim on YouTube. But he also has his own website. And no, we don't really collaborate, and I don't get any kickbacks from him. But of course, Slim, if you're listening to this video, I'd be more than happy to get kickbacks. No, I'm just kidding. But you can check out his site. He has a really good service, AskSlim.com. Of course, I have my own premium membership, as you already heard at the beginning of this video. So if you want to join mine for $5.99, you can. If you want to join his service, by all means, go ahead. He's got a really good service. I've actually subscribed to his service several times throughout the years. I've known about Slim probably for about, going back to 2014, maybe 2013, somewhere around there. So I've been a student of psychoanalysis for a good 8 years now. And I've gotten to the point where I can see cycles just by looking at the screen. If there's a cycle there, I'll find it. Okay. So that's kind of my the background on me about how I learned about psychoanalysis is through Steve Miller. Okay. Anyway, recently I commented on one of his videos. He always puts up a video once a week called Market Week, I think it's called, or something like this, on his YouTube channel for the general public, kind of like what I'm doing here. And I commented in his video, said, hey, I think I just had my own commentary about where I thought the next cycle low was gonna occur, because normally I don't go look at his content first. I go do my own psychoanalysis, and then I do look at his content once a week. Not always, every week. Sometimes I'm busy, but I always do my own psychoanalysis first because I like to see whether or not they match up. And almost every time, like 99% of the time, our cycles match really well. But this time they were about a week different. Okay, maybe even more than a week. So I was a little surprised. So I gave him a little challenge and said, hey, how about a $25 bet? Let's see who's going to be more accurate about this next cycle low. So very interesting. If you didn't get a chance to look at his latest video, go over to Ask Slim on YouTube. I think you can just type in Ask Slim. You can check out his latest videos that he put out. It's it might not be the very last one he put out. It might be the one before that, because they tend to put out a video on, I think, Friday, and then they start pulling little pieces of their Friday show, and they'll do smaller videos like through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. They'll put out more videos. So anyway, it's the Friday show. If you want to go check it out, it's very interesting. Really good guy. Really like Slim. And he has a good team of people that work with him, and they're building a really good brand over there. So by all means, check them out. But of course, I'm trying to grow my own brand too. So if you want a good premium service content that I put out, like I say, you can join my channel. Okay. So let's talk about something here before I dive into. I'm going to look at just 3 products today. We're going to look at the S&P 500. It's going to be a little bit of a long video, so stay with me on this. You can always skip forward and look around other content if you want. But I'm going to cover some important things here. One, we're going to cover the S&P 500, what I think is going to happen. Okay, just on the daily. Okay, I might even look at the monthly. And then I'll look at oil and gold. That's the only products I'm going to cover. Okay, those are the big 3. So let's take a look at this. What you're going to notice is I added something on the screen for the premium members. I talked about this on the Discord server, but for some of you in the general public and others, maybe premium members that that don't go on the Discord server very often, you may be wondering, what are these dots? What are these guys? These chains of dots right here. Well, this is something I'm working on, okay? And I'm not quite done with it yet, but basically what I've got behind the scenes is some an algorithm-ish mathematics that's going on here. And I may pull it out of, this is, for those who don't know, this is the TOS platform, Thinkorswim platform, that is put out by TD Ameritrade. Okay, really excellent platform. But their ThinkScript, it's called. It's a little bit limited in what you can do and not do. I'm a software developer. That's my career, by the way, my main career. So it's a little bit limited what you can do. There's some things you can do in there and some things you can't. Behind the scenes, there's a scripting language that you just don't see, okay? But this is being done in ThinkScript. And what I want you to pay attention to is this last dot in each of these dot chains, okay, or dot sequences, that one and that one. I already did that one. You can see there's one right here, okay? There's one like right here, and there's one right here. And I could go on, right? It's the last dot in each of these dot sequences. So what am I attempting to do here with this logic is the question, right? Well, the question is, if you look at the last dot in each of these dot chains, you'll notice it's basically the low. Now, sometimes it may not be exactly spot on, like this one's more accurate, but this one actually nailed it perfectly. This one's off by 1 day. So I'm still working on the logic, but basically it's really, really close here, okay? So what I'm trying to identify with this logic is the low points on cycles, okay? And it's looking like it's doing a really good job here, okay? So that's what those dots are. All right. What I'm going to end up getting for the premium members, and for those that aren't premium membership, it's good that you're watching this video because you're actually seeing me working on a feature that I'm going to make available to premium members. For this particular feature, I might have a level 2 membership, okay? Because it's going to take a little time, and of course, effort and time costs, right? Cost time and money. All right. So, I think what's going to happen here eventually is we're going to get down to the last dot and get the other dots out of here. And then I'll use that as my anchor point for a cycle low. Bingo. So what am I really driving at? Well, I think, just maybe, I don't know if it's going to happen on the Thinkorswim platform, but it might happen on my own piece of software that I'll make as a downloadable. And then premium members can download it. Obviously, you'll pay for the premium membership. You'll download the app, and we'll just see from there how full feature I'm going to make that, okay? Or it could end up being on this platform right here. I'm not 100% sure yet, okay? But basically what's going to end up happening is those last dots are going to become anchor points for cycles, okay? And I think I can get it to the place where it'll be automated. And what I'm kind of thinking here is, just to cover this with everybody real quick, is you might have a bunch of check boxes in here, okay? I'm sorry about my bad drawing, but these would be like little check boxes. You might have, 5 of them in there. And let's say you want it to automatically give you your cycles. So you might we'll have like 5 different cycle attempts. You might say, okay, do that one. And you might click a little button here that says submit or something. You click the button. And it might go through and draw some cycles for you. And you'll have to look at it and say, okay, I like that. The cycles look really good. Or you might say, you know what, I don't like that. You uncheck it and you try another one. So I might do something like that just in the beginning to see how it goes, okay? And I'll be using the app myself as well. And we'll see how this automated cycle analysis goes, okay? If it comes out as good as I think it can come out, this could be really cool. I think I'll still allow it to be flexible enough so premium members can move the cycles around a little bit if they want to, okay? But this should really get the cycles very close, okay? It should do pretty well. So that's a feature that's coming up, I hope, in my spare time. Between everything else I'm doing, I'm just working on that. For now, even if you look at this, you can see this is really absolutely nailing low points. Look at this. Look at this logic, guys. It's absolutely nailing the low points. Okay, so this is extremely helpful. It's just absolutely tagging the low points. And that's being done automatically with the logic behind here. So this is pretty cool. All right, so enough of that. Let's talk about the S&P 500. So I already talked about this a little bit, but basically anywhere, guys and gals, from about 323, sorry for my squiggliness here, but from about 323 all the way to maybe like the very end of the month, okay, like 330-ish, 331, whatever, that time frame, that's kind of like right in here to basically there. Okay, that's where I think we're going to have our cycle low. Okay, right now it's kind of hard to determine exactly where where it's. I call it land. Where the cycle low is going to land. It's like the eagle is landing, right? It lands here. This one landed here. This one came down and landed there. Slim, you'll hear him. He'll say, "Well, that's an anchor." Same thing. It's the same. We're just using a little bit different vernacular, a little bit different language. But he calls them anchors. So if you're over on Steve's site or you're looking at his content on his own website there, you're going to hear him call it an anchor. Okay. And that just basically means there's an anticipation that the next cycle is going to start. Now, Steve and I had a little conversation that I mentioned earlier that we might not even see a positive cycle. If you look at this cycle over here, guys and gals, that's a positive cycle. How do we know? Look at the price. It just went up. It just, for more than half of the cycle was positive, right? Here's the halfway point of the cycle. And it went past the halfway point and stayed positive all the way up to there, right? So that's what we call a positive configurated or positive configuration, right? It's a positive cycle. But, if you look at this cycle over here, I mean, there was some positivity to it, but it was kind of short-lived, right? Because this is the halfway point over here. So, if I remember right, I always get confused. I think this is called left-hand translation, but it could be right-hand. I'm not sure. I always get confused which way it goes. But basically, the way I look at this is this cycle wasn't very strong. It didn't even get up to the 50-day moving average, and it also was to the left side of the middle of this cycle. Okay, the middle's right there. So that's a weak cycle. So whether it's called left or right, I'll have to go back and do my homework here. But basically, this cycle's weak, and it's basically failed, if you want to call it that. Okay, or it's gone to the short side, right? A lot of red candlesticks from there on out, all the way probably down into this area here. Okay. Now we'll see whether or not that next cycle gets positive and has any kind of positivity. But if you just look at this beginning of this cycle, there isn't much to it, but you can see there was a new cycle that started there. Okay. And there's a little green cycle down in here. It goes like that, then it goes like that. You can see it was right there, right? You can see it's got a few days of positivity to it, and then it promptly went the other way. So it would be rare to not have some indication of where a cycle ends and a new one begins. Okay, but it does happen. It does. Sometimes you get stuff like this, even though this isn't really falling on a cycle. But look at these two little candlesticks right here. These two little red ones. Sometimes that's all you'll get. You'll barely get any indication of a cycle changeover, and that throws a lot of people off. They think if there isn't a price decline that it can't be a cycle low, and that couldn't be further from the truth. So we'll talk about that a different day. So anyway, that's my take on the daily for the S&P 500 from 323 to 331. That's where I believe that the strongest possibility for a cycle low. Now I think Steve Miller and his team, they have it more around, I don't know exactly, because I'm not currently subscribed to the service, and I don't want to steal their thunder and and draw away from their great service. But I think it's somewhere like 317-ish, maybe. It might be like 315. I don't really know exactly, but they're more like kind of in the middle of March. But one good thing about their team, guys, is they're very flexible. Okay, because Steve's been doing this for probably well over 45 years. He's been in this stuff a long time, and he understands better than anybody the need to be flexible. You don't be rigid in cycle analysis. You have to be flexible and ready to move cycles around. So I know his team will do their due diligence. If they believe the cycles need to be moved, they'll move them. Okay, but I have mine at about 323, 324, out to about 331. They have theirs more, like I said, kind of in the middle of March. Probably like in the next few days, they're expecting a cycle low. So it's going to be very interesting to see. We have a little bet going on to see who's going to be more accurate. Okay, and the bet there is. And Steve said, hey, I don't really do bets, but if you want to give to a charity, we can do that. So that's the bet. The bet is whoever hits this cycle low, the other guy has to pay up and donate to a charity, which is really cool. I'm really glad he brought up that challenge, or I should say that method of taking care of the bet, so to speak. I thought that was really cool. He's a good guy. He's got a good heart. I really like him. All right, so let's move on to the monthly for this, okay? And you'll see that my logic is working even on monthly time frame. It'll work on any time frame. Really cool, right? How cool is that? I'm excited about that new logic. Hopefully we'll get it working even better. Let me switch my draw and set over to the monthly so we get the monthly cycles. Now, this hasn't changed. This cycle is around very end of June, okay? Right here. Now, remember, guys and gals, this is a huge time frame, huge cycle. We were talking years. This is back in 2015, 2016 is the last time we had this cycle low. And before that was around 2000, late 2008, early 2009, okay? So we don't want, like as I said earlier, we don't want to get dogmatic about big, huge monthly cycles. But for right now, into June seems to be where it's at. Just be aware that could happen as early as May. It could go all the way out to like August, September, right? So this is a whole year right here, this line. That's an entire year. So just be aware that I think late spring all the way to autumn is a really risky time on the monthly time frame for the S&P 500. So just real quick, my instincts tell me that this S&P 500 will return to the 50-month moving average. It's gonna come down here. We've got 3 really big red months going on here in a row. So we'll see what this does, okay? But I do think it'll come down and touch us. I just don't know if it's going to happen in 2022 or go out into 2023. So, if I were just to kind of draw this, and this may begin to lose some momentum and begin to kind of turn over, so we don't really know exactly yet. But if I just had to ballpark this, guys and gals, I'd say we're looking at 3,600 right here, okay, sometime in 2022. If it continues, you might get some green and some stuff, so it gets delayed and comes out more over here, right? And then you might be looking at a little bit higher, 3,700, 3,800. But anyway, whichever way we go, guys, I have a pretty strong sense that S&P 500 will get well below 4,000, which is right there. It's going to get below that sometime in 2022, and I think it's going to get below it pretty significantly. I've been saying it for a while. I'm going to say it again. I think 3,800 is going to be chump change. I think it's going to be easy. It's going to get there easy in 2022, and I think it'll get lower than that. Okay. So you can see over here, guys, we now have a crossover on the MACD. This is getting serious. That hasn't happened in a long while. Okay, so a crossover the MACD this far above the zero line is just huge, huge. A lot of downward pressure. This is like an inflated balloon ready to pop. It's already popping. And check this out, guys. There are them 3 dots. Okay. So we'll see how long this lasts. You never know. This could just peter out and take off again. So you never know with the market. You got to watch it. But a lot of divergence warnings going on here, both in the Big Daddy forecast, which of course is my own algorithm. Okay, and it's usually not wrong. Okay, so we got some stuff going on here. So that's my take on the monthly. Okay, I'm not gonna look at the weekly. Let's switch over to crude oil, which has been absolutely hot on fire. Let me go to the daily, and then I'll switch to my daily drawing set here. Looks like this is all kind of messed up here. I don't know what happened here. Let's see if I can zoom in and make this play nice. Am I looking at... this thing is all jacked up. This has gotten all jacked up. I'm not sure what's going on here. Don't know why I know what's going on. I know what's going on. Okay, I'll have to deal with that later. It's because where I have my dots. And the dots are messing up the scale. All right, so for now, we'll just deal with this. I know it's small, but just bear with me. Oil obviously has gone up to 130.5, which is crazy, about 4 days ago, which is the second highest price of all time since we've been tracking it, I think. Let me see. Do I got 20 years on here? I got 20 years one day. Yeah, here we are. Let's see. Does it anywhere else? I can't see it on here. It's being stubborn and difficult. Here's 147. I say second highest, probably not really accurate, but we're kind of like, and what I mean is we're kind of in the second highest range area. You can see way back here in 2008, it was at 147. So since then it went down, 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 kind of crossed sideways, blah, blah, blah. But now we're up here in the 130 area. It's pulled back since then. We're back down to about 109 here on these futures contracts. Okay, so what do I think is going to happen with oil? Well, it's kind of hard for me to look at this because of the way the screen's so messed up. But I'm going to do my best here. Right now, this cycle low is for, March 15th. What do you know? In the next few days. There's an anticipated low, March 15th, right here. So that's kind of my take on oil. Okay. I think March 15th is kind of where I think we're going to hit a low. And then the next one, for those premium members, or even just whatever, I'm sharing this with everybody today. We're just doing this for everybody. April 10th. So you want to know my next cycle low for oil is April 10th, okay? All right. For premium members, I'll try to put out a video today, later on for you, for the hourly chart on the S&P 500, okay? That's going to be a quick video, so just keep track of that on your premium member content, and I'll just do a quick video on the hourly. I'm going to do it in this video here, but I'm not going to post that portion to the general public. Okay, so for everybody, you got that. Let's look at gold. Probably going to be the same kind of weird-looking chart. Oh, this chart's actually very good. It's very good because the scale on the S&P 500 and gold is at least close enough to where it looks good. Okay, I'll work on that. It'll have to be product dependent. I'll have to read the product code and then adjust my scale accordingly. But we'll do that scripting later. Okay, here we go with gold. Gold has been on fire because, of course, we got the Russian, the agreed upon war. I'm going to refrain from getting too political in this video, but for those that don't know, yes, the so-called Biden administration did greenlight the war. They did greenlight Russia going into Ukraine. That may be a shock to some of you that can't possibly believe that's true because they want to make Russia to be out the bad guys. And of course, Russia is the bad guys for doing some really bad, heinous things and hurting a lot of people over there in Ukraine. It's despicable and it's evil. But make no mistake, the U.S. greenlighted them and told Russia, more or less, go ahead, it's yours. Yeah, it's the truth. And it's no coincidence that the trade-off was that Putin and Russia got high oil prices. So what did the Biden administration get in return? Well, if you've been following closely, you'll know that old Barry Soetoro, George Soros, and Biden all have been accused of crimes in Ukraine. For those that didn't watch the Biden video where he basically blackmailed Ukraine for $1 billion, they may have taken that video down by now, but for those that don't want to pay attention, that's fine, that's your choice. But yep, he sure enough blackmailed Ukraine back when he was a vice president. So anyway, Putin's making their crimes all disappear, and in exchange he gets some really expensive oil and makes a lot of money. Yeah, these people go to great lengths to cover up their sins, folks. It's disgusting. So anyway, back to gold here. Looking at the daily chart, I think this low 313 is basically this week. It's basically, I think, tomorrow or Tuesday. So we'll have to see what this does. Does it have any kind of rising phase into the next cycle? If you want to know what that next cycle low is, I have April 18th. Okay. So let me just look at these cycles really quick, guys, because gold cycles, they are pretty well formed. They're not as good as S&P 500, but they are pretty well formed. Some of them are not as obvious. Okay, but you can see the yellow dots doing their deal, man. Basically, look at this. Look at these 3 yellow dots right on. Oh my gosh, that's just amazing. Yeah, okay. So you got a dot beginning to develop right here. So there's a suggestion that the preliminary logic that I have going on here is saying, hey, there's a cycle low beginning to develop. That's basically what this is saying. Okay. It even thinks there might have been a little bit of a cycle low right here, but you notice there's only 2 dots, right? Okay, so this logic's kind of working. We also got some divergence warnings going on here in both the Big Daddy as well as the SMI. So they got some pretty good alignment here. All this logic's kind of working together here, suggesting a cycle low is really basically within a day or two. Okay, and like I said, the next one would be right around April 15th, tax day, or the 18th. Okay, so that's your gold there. All right, I think that's all I'm going to cover right now is those 3 products. Okay, like I said earlier, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. Don't forget to click that little bell to be notified of all the videos that I put them out. And consider the premium membership. $5.99. It's a good deal. It's $5.99 cover the whole month. I mean, it's less than a meal at McDonald's or whatever. A cup of coffee and a little something from Starbucks is more than that nowadays. So this is an inflation. I'm going to call this an inflation beater price. $5.99. It's a steal. Okay. So consider the premium membership because I think it's a really good deal. And for you premium members that already are premium, people who are already premium members, I'm going to go ahead and start right here, right now on the hourly for the S&P 500. Okay, and I'll put that out for the premium members. Everybody else, I'll hope you're all having a great day and a great weekend. Talk to you all real soon again next time.